Gotcha there, right? What's up, everybody? This is Paul Vecchio from Tripoli Productions. I'm the director of Fallout. I'm back. It's been a while, but I just want to give you sort of a behind-the-scenes kind of look at the making of Fallout. And by the way, if there are any producers out there or filmmakers looking for a director or any post-work editing, visual effects supervisor, anything like that, feel free to contact me through the website. And also, if you're on Twitter, you could follow me at PaulDV, or you can go to my blog and check out pauldvblog.com. Okay, anyway, I also wanted to include a little bit on directing. Most of this stuff is like behind the scenes stuff for, visual effects and things like that. So I actually wanted to include something where it shows a little bit of the directing side too, because, it's not just about visual effects. It's about the story, the characters and stuff. And so including a directing portion is definitely something that I think is important, because the event is the story. It's not the visual effects. And that's why a lot of movies nowadays, when people go see them, they trash the visual effects almost instinctively, because a lot of movies have relied on visual effects and things like that because they thought that would make their movie successful. So I think a concentration needs to go back onto the storytelling side, and so that's why I included a directing portion in this behind the scenes. Okay, so let's just jump in. Basically, this whole basement stuff, we shot this film in one 14-hour day, and then we did like maybe 5 hours on another day. Basically, this shot right here is probably the biggest, most epic shot, so I'll save that for the last thing. But that's a basic sign replacement. If you look at the raw footage, we just changed it. Because we had on the script we had exit 47, so we just changed it to exit 47 there, and then you can see like the before and the after with the color grading and all that stuff. So this stuff here in the park, it was really hot this day. It was like damn near 100 or probably over 100, and so you'll see Dave progressively get sweatier throughout, because we shot this basically in sequence, so you can see his clothes getting more sweaty. With that gas mask, it just got really, really hot. So this is the raw footage, and you can see like the color grading is it adds a more of a mood to it. We wanted it to feel more like toxic, or like nuclear fallout kind of thing. I just feel like it adds more character. I mean, if you look at the comparison, the side-by-side comparison here, you can just see that the raw footage was more, I guess, toward the yellow, blue, maybe. Yeah, some blues and yellows, but we pushed it more toward orange and more just like almost a sepia tone. And we just felt that that would add more character to the film. I mean, the film's called Fallout, so it has to kind of have that kind of feel to it. This right here, you can see it looks like he's hunting a rabbit, and we just kind of saw a rabbit in the park and started filming it, and then Dawn ran up to it and it ran away, so that's how we got it to jump away. But yeah, actually, if you look at this section right here, you'll notice that there's like a white thing that flies out of the top of the gun, and it almost looks like a single shot bullet, but it's actually a bug, and it somehow looked like a shell flying out of the top of the gun. So that was like one of the happy accidents that happens on set. And if we look at the final and the raw footage here again, you'll see that it just adds more of like a warm kind of tone to the film to give it a little bit more character, brings the exposure to a little bit more under control. And basically, just to give it that creepy kind of like Fallout type of feel, we just gave it that almost sepia tone. Color is not really something that you're consciously aware of, but it actually is. It's like sound. It's a very powerful contributor to the feel and the mood of the movie. And so here we have Dawn, and this stuff was shot all after Dave's stuff, all that stuff that you saw in the park and on the road and stuff. We shot that first, and then we had Dawn. We just got her in a costume and tied her up and put all the fake blood on her. And that scare right there was a sort of by accident. It was sort of, I guess, meant to be a jump, but when we shot it, I wasn't really thinking that it would be one of the big scare moments, and that one seems to get people because you don't really expect it. You expect her to wake up, but you don't expect her to jump like that. And so when I was editing too, one of the sound effects, the jump scare sound effects, just kind of landed in that spot by accident. And then I was like, whoa, that actually kind of works. So, you know, I left it in there, and it actually ends up being one of the better scares in the film. And this is this is kind of funny. The look that she gives him. She almost seems like she's like in love with him. But yeah, all this stuff, you don't even see the door. You don't see the guy in the background. It's more of sound effects, and sound effects can help. You know, like color. Sound effects can help add mood. Music with adds mood and stuff. So all those things shouldn't be overlooked when you're making the film. This right here is we had a lot of trouble coming up with the scene right here. By the way, I just want to mention that we shot with a stock DVX, no 35mm adapter. So if you're wondering how we got that really shallow depth of field there, we just kind of moved the camera all the way back, lifted it up, and zoomed in and had the iris open all the way. So yeah, we were having a lot of trouble. There was a whole bunch of parts of this where we were trying to figure out where Doug would be, and we were gonna have like a whole choreographed fight scene when he falls out of the closet and he gets on top of Dave and stuff, but that just ended up going out the window because we were so pressed with time, and we were just like, you know what, let's just give them the jump scare, give them that it's really the anticipation. Obviously, like Hitchcock said, it's really the anticipation of what's going to happen. So that's why we just we added that tense moment with the music, and then Doug just pops out of the closet. All that stuff in the park is all color graded, so that it's it was a lot less orange. When we waited in the park for maybe about half an hour, I would say, until the sun went down to magic hour once again. We kind of figured that would be the best time to shoot, again, because he gave that golden warm kind of tone, and we just thought that was appropriate for that scene. It adds a lot of character and a lot of mood to the scene. Over here, Dave enters the basement, more his little bunker here with Dawn. All this stuff, we wanted to kind of keep it consistent, so that's why we have that same shot of the light going on, so that that they're back at that location. Because when you bring something back, something that the audience is familiar with, they immediately know where they are. So we decided to bring that shot back and sort of like almost like a redo of the opening, just to a little bit different, because in the opening you see him putting on all the stuff, and here you see him taking off all the stuff. So it's sort of like a callback in a way of shots and like in I guess concept, and so it just helps the audience realize where the characters are. This is where actually we wanted to concentrate heavily on the acting, and this is where I have that little acting/directing segment, which you'll see in a bit. But I just want to talk about right here with the bumps that come out of her head. Basically, it's just an effect in After Effects where it bulges the section of the skin, and we just kind of animated it. I added the zoom because that zoom wasn't there. I added that zoom because a lot of people didn't see the bumps the first time around, and even on the second time around they didn't see the bumps, so it was really something that needed to be added for clarification, because a lot of people didn't know what was going on there. They're like, why did what was that sound, what happened there, why all of a sudden did the music cue in, and so we had to I guess really point out, like, hey, look at this. And that was a big challenge, because I experimented with trying to bring the height up on the bumps, and it just started looking really, really fake, like very CG-ish. And I was like, you know what, I can't do that, so I'm going to have to do something else to kind of highlight that, the bumps moving across her forehead. So I decided to go with a zoom, and I brought the bumps out as far as I could without them looking artificial or too artificial. And then and then we added the sound effect, and hopefully most people pick up on that. But yeah, it was a big challenge trying to get people to notice what was going on there without it being like, hey, look at me, bumps on my forehead. Okay, guys, that's it for part one. Thanks for watching. This is Paul Vecchio with Tripoli Productions. I'm the director of Fallout. And once again, you can contact me through the website. You can go on pauldvblog.com, or you can get me on Twitter at pauldv.